How I discovered the one simple airplane seat trick airlines don't want you to know. Have you ever boarded a flight, squeezed into your seat, looked around the cabin, and thought, wait, why does everyone else look way more comfortable than me? I had that exact moment on a packed flight from Los Angeles to New York, and what happened next honestly shocked me. Because after years of flying, I suddenly realized something airlines never clearly tell passengers. And once you know it, the way you book flights will never be the same again. So, quick question before we dive in. Have you ever been stuck in the worst airplane seat imaginable? Middle seat, no legroom, someone reclining into your soul. If that's happened to you, hit the comments and tell me your worst flight experience, because trust me, you are not alone. Now, here's where things get interesting. I used to think airline seats were basically random, right? You book a ticket, you pick a seat if you're lucky, and then you just hope for the best. But one day, while digging into how airlines actually design their cabins, I realized something crazy. Airlines carefully structure seating in ways that most passengers never notice. And hidden inside that system is a ridiculously simple trick that can completely change your flight experience. And the wild part, it costs airlines almost nothing, but it can make your trip way better. Alright, let's rewind for a second. Picture this. I'm boarding a completely full flight. People are cramming bags into overhead bins. Flight attendants are doing that polite but slightly stressed smile. And I'm preparing myself for the usual cramped experience. But then I noticed something weird. Rows near the back of the plane had empty seats. Not just one, but entire rows with extra space. Meanwhile, up front people were packed like sardines. And that's when it hit me. Airlines, KNOW passengers, prefer certain seats, and they quietly rely on that behavior. Because most travelers rush to book seats at the front of economy, thinking they'll get off the plane faster. But here's the secret. That leaves the back of the aircraft less crowded on many flights, meaning sometimes you can score an entire empty seat next to you, or even a whole row, without paying a single extra dollar. Crazy, right? But wait, it gets even better. Because that's just the beginning of how airlines subtly manage seating. Another thing most people never realize is that airlines use seat map psychology. Yep, that's actually a thing. When you open a seat selection map online, the layout is designed to guide your choices. Premium seats appear highlighted, extra legroom seats look more appealing, and standard seats often appear limited, which makes passengers panic and pick quickly. But here's the trick. Frequent flyers know. The seat map you see is often not the full map. Airlines sometimes block seats temporarily for operational reasons, elite members, or last-minute upgrades, which means seats that look unavailable may suddenly open hours before departure. And that's exactly what happened on another flight I took. I checked the seat map the night before. Everything looked packed. Middle seats everywhere. It looked like a nightmare. But then I checked again a few hours before boarding, and boom! Several aisle seats magically appeared. Why? Because airlines had released previously blocked seats. And guess what? I grabbed one instantly. Now imagine if you knew this trick. Every time you flew, you could avoid those dreaded middle seats more often than you think. And speaking of middle seats, here's something else airlines rarely advertise. Statistically, flights with 2 passengers in a row are most likely to leave the middle seat empty when people book window and aisle first. That's why some travelers intentionally book window and aisle in the same row when flying with a friend. It increases the chance nobody takes the middle seat. And if someone does, you can simply offer to switch so you can sit together. It's a win-win strategy. Clever, right? But hold up. There's another trick that blew my mind. The seat alert method. Frequent flyers use seat tracking tools to monitor seat maps after booking. Because passengers constantly change flights, upgrade, or cancel, meaning better seats open up all the time. So if you booked early and got a mediocre seat, checking the map again a few times before your flight can actually land you a huge upgrade in comfort. And airlines don't exactly advertise that, because they'd rather sell premium seats first. Now here's where things get even more interesting. Airplane cabins themselves are carefully engineered around passenger psychology. Airlines know people value legroom, window views, and quick exits, so they price those seats differently. But hidden among those seats are what frequent travelers call sweet spots, seats with extra space that cost the same as regular seats. For example, rows behind exit rows often have extra recline because nobody is directly behind them. Certain window seats are slightly misaligned with the window, giving more shoulder room, and some bulkhead seats have huge legroom if overhead storage isn't an issue. Once you start noticing these patterns, it's like unlocking a secret level of flying. Suddenly, you're not just picking any seat, you're strategically choosing comfort. And I'll be honest, once I learned these tricks, flying became way less stressful. But here's the funniest part. Airlines actually depend on passengers not knowing this stuff. Because if everyone picked seats strategically, their premium seat sales might drop. So instead, they rely on the average traveler just clicking whatever seat looks okay and moving on. And hey, no judgment. We've all done it. But now that you know, you can play the game smarter. So here's my challenge for you. Next time you book a flight, don't rush your seat selection. Check the back rows. Watch the seat map closer to departure. Look for those hidden comfort spots. And see if you can outsmart the system. Because once you start paying attention, you'll realize airline seating is less random than it seems. It's almost like a puzzle, and the best travelers know exactly how to solve it. Now, I'm curious, what's the best airplane seat you've ever had? Window with a killer view, exit row with endless legroom, or maybe you scored an entire empty row? Drop it in the comments because I read every single one. And if you learned something new today, share this video with a friend who always gets stuck in the middle seat. They'll thank you later. And if you want more insider travel tricks airlines rarely talk about, make sure you subscribe to Golden Age Travel Tips, because trust me, this seat trick is just the beginning. The next time you board a plane, you might realize the most comfortable seat on the aircraft was hiding in plain sight the entire time. And now you know exactly where to look.